In the heart of the bustling 19th century America, the era of burgeoning railroads and industrial progress, Phineas Gage stood out as a figure of unparalleled vigor and skill. At 25 years old, he embarked on a journey that would etch his name into the annals of history in a manner he could never have foreseen. If you're joining me for the first time, I want to welcome you to the dark past, where you'll be enjoying amazing true stories from the past and from around the world. So please do sit back, relax, and enjoy today's story. It was in the month of July in the year 1848 when Phineas found himself amidst the construction frenzy of the Hudson River Railroad in New York. Railroads stretched like lifelines across the country, connecting cities and towns, and Phineas was right in the thick of it. With his expertise in explosives, honed from his days on the family farm and later in mining, Phineas was a natural choice for the job. His arrival at the railroad site was met with awe and admiration. Phineas possessed a magnetic charm and infectious energy that drew others to him like moths to a flame. His intelligence, wit, and natural leadership skills quickly earned him a promotion to blasting foreman, a role he embraced with enthusiasm. To commemorate his new promotion, Phineas commissioned a custom tamping iron, a tool symbolic to his expertise in handling explosives. This wasn't just any tamping iron, it was meticulously crafted, sleek, and perfectly balanced, a testament to Phineas's dedication to his craft. A tamping iron is a long metal rod. It's used to pack explosives. When railroad workers wanted to blast through a big rock, they would start by drilling a deep but skinny hole in the rock. Then they would pour blasting powder inside of it. They also put a fuse inside, and then using the tamping iron, they would push the blasting powder and the fuse deep into the hole inside of the rock or whatever it was that they were blowing up, and then once it was packed, they would ignite it. Usually, tamping irons are sort of rough tools that look like crowbars, but Phineas, who wanted something special to commemorate his promotion, had a blacksmith make this perfectly straight, smooth 4-foot long metal tamping iron, and on one end was a pointed side and at the other was a blunted side. It weighed about 13 pounds and it was about an inch and 1/4 in diameter. Phineas loved this tamping iron. He took it with him not just to work, but basically everywhere he went. However, fate had a cruel twist in store for Phineas on one fateful September day. It so happened that on September 3rd, 1848, not long after his big promotion, Phineas and his explosive team were blasting through some rocks that ran through the forest. Phineas was right up front over the blasting site, helping them prep the explosives. His team had drilled that long, deep, skinny hole into the rock they were about to blow up. Then they poured in the blasting powder inside the rock. They put the fuse inside of it. Then Phineas took his tamping iron and began to pack the powder and fuse deep into the rock, using the blunted end of the tamping iron to pack the explosives, which meant that the pointed end was sticking out of the rock like a missile. While doing this, someone behind him slipped on the rock and fell, and as Phineas, with his hands off the tamping iron, turned to the right to look and see what was going on, and as he did this, somehow his tamping iron that was inside the skinny hole must have nodded against the inside of the rock, creating a spark and ignited the explosive inside the rock, which meant the tamping iron was basically fired like a missile out of the hole into Phineas's head. It all happened so fast. The rod pierced through Phineas's skull with a terrifying force, entering beneath his left cheekbone and exiting through the top of his head, and shot 80 feet away, landing on the ground, covered in Phineas's blood and brains. The scene that unfolded was nothing short of surreal. Phineas, standing for a moment in shock before a geyser of blood erupted from his head, he collapsed to the ground and began having a seizure. At this point, his co-workers, who were still shaken up from the sudden blast, rushed over and tried to position him in a way that he wouldn't hurt himself. But looking at him, he's literally missing half of his head. He's covered in blood, and they are thinking that there is nothing they could do for him or just wait for him to die. And so, all of Phineas's co-workers who adored him just stood there very sober, watching their boss die. But eventually, Phineas stopped having a seizure and then opened his eyes. He looked up at his crew, sat up, and said, "What's happened now?" When his crew heard how clearly he was speaking and how focused his eyes were, they just couldn't believe it. Knowing fully well that half of his head had just been blown off by his 13-pound, 4-foot-long metal rod, they imagined how he was still alive and having this coherent conversation with them. And so, the co-workers told Phineas, "Please lay down. We will get you help. Just lay down and relax." But Phineas, who still had blood shooting out of his head, just stood up casually and walked over to the railway cart and signaled for his crew to take him back to town. And so they walked over to him and they started this slow 1-mile journey into town on the railroad cart. And the whole time they were all kind of looking at Phineas, expecting him to die any second. But instead, Phineas is just looking around with half of his head open. His co-workers initially resigned to his inevitable demise. Watched in disbelief as Phineas miraculously regained consciousness despite the gruesome injury, Phineas remained remarkably lucid, calmly assessing the situation and even making notes of the time to ensure his crew received proper compensation. As Phineas was rushed back to town, his survival defied all expectations. Even the attending doctor, initially resigned to providing comfort in Phineas's final moments, was astonished by his resilience and clarity of mind. Phineas's determination to live was palpable, a testament to the indomitable spirit that burned within him. In the aftermath of his accident, Phineas's personality underwent a profound transformation. Once charismatic and affable, he now exhibited erratic behavior and a lack of inhibition. He wasn't that playful, cheerful young man everyone knew. He became aggressive and angry most of the time. He would say things he would do but never lived up to them. He would tell his nephews and nieces stories that could never be true. His once promising future seemed to be overshadowed by the shadow of his injury. Yet Phineas preserved, finding solace in the companionship of his beloved stamping iron. He took it wherever he went, even posing at one point with the stamping iron the way you would expect a couple to pose for a photo. He never made any more friends, or got married, or even had kids. 12 years later, after his horrific injury, Phineas would develop seizures, likely from the injury, and then he would die with his beloved stamping iron right by his side. Phineas's resilience shone through. He adapted to his new reality, embracing life with a new, profound appreciation for his fragility. Though his journey was fraught with challenges, Phineas's legacy endures as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Today, Phineas's skull and his iconic stamping iron stand as artifacts of a remarkable life, reminder of the enduring impact of one man's journey from tragedy to triumph. His story continues to captivate the imagination of so many, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to overcome the most harrowing of circumstances. Today, Phineas's skull and his stamping iron are on display at Harvard Medical School. That brings us to the end of today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to give it a like and share it, which encourages me to bring you more interesting stories like this from around the world. I don't know what media you are watching this with, but you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, and YouTube. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. Thank you. See you next time. Bye for now.